You're listening to the SPK and Associates podcast.
Hi, this is Chris McHale, co-founder and COO of SPK and Associates, and I'm here with Oleg Shilovitsky, a well-known and prolific blogger on PLM topics over the last 5 years. We're going to ask Oleg today to give us his top PLM predictions or trends for 2015. So, Oleg, would you take a moment to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, hello. Thank you for inviting me. I'm Oleg Shilovitsky, and my background is coming mostly for engineering, design, and manufacturing software such as CAD, PLM, PLM. I've been in this space for the last 20 years, working for different companies. And also for the last 5 years, I decided to open a blog and speak about engineering and manufacturing software online. The idea behind blog was to bring a place where I can share information and discuss different topics, trends with engineers and other people interested in engineering and manufacturing software.
Okay, great. Thanks, Oleg. And you have a great blog, and I visit it quite a bit myself and get a lot of great information ideas from it. And we really appreciate your taking the time today to talk about your view of the top PLM predictions or trends, really, for 2015. So to kick this off, why don't we start with your first PLM prediction or trend?
Right, so my first trend, the thing that I wanted to talk about is related to cloud and cloud solutions. It's interesting and fascinating what happens around the cloud. Just a few years ago, it was the sort of situation that nobody thought that cloud is possible for PLM, and everything actually changed since then. Today, almost all PLM companies established kind of cloud strategies, and we can see it's really coming from everybody. So PLM vendors understood that cloud is here to stay. So what's going to happen is that I believe vendors will have to move from their initial assumption that cloud is just about how to move PLM server from their server room, from under the table position, to the cloud or to Amazon. So I guess for most of vendors in this space, that was the initial assumption. Let's take the server, move it to the Amazon, done deal. I think it's going to change because vendors are going to discover the complexity of a cloud solution and complexity to maintain, to deliver, to implement, and to run it. So it's really a place where we will see the differences between born in the cloud vendors or between vendors that took the cloud as their fundamental assumption for the development and vendors that are migrating from existing established PLM solutions, all sort of mix of them.
Yeah, that's interesting because as you were talking, I was thinking that most of the PLM vendors, their core competency is to write software and deliver software. And really when you become a software vendor that has their application in the cloud, now you're having to actually be a service provider as well, which is a completely different type of business. And I'm wondering from your perspective, because now comes the hard part, some of these PLM vendors are going to have to rewrite their applications in order to provide more of a classic software as a service cloud offering, right? Do you see that happening this next year, or do you think it's going to take several years, or do you have any thoughts about that?
Yes, that's actually a very interesting thing that you mentioned, that as the service aspect. So all companies before, they've been software developers, so basically they sold CD-ROMs with software, and today they need to provide services. So that's a great differentiation, and I think companies are discovering it as they go. I'm not sure that everything will go through the next year because the space itself is very slow. So manufacturing companies are taking their time to analyze, check, evaluate software, and it also takes their internal time to understand how to optimize processes. So it will be much slower process, but I expect that vendors will start their investigations in how to optimize service rather than just think how to sell CD-ROMs with software.
Yeah, I've also seen that they're using partners to do that as well, because I think they find the service provider hat or role to be something they're not that comfortable with, just as a comment. So Oleg, moving on to the second prediction or trend, I think you had some things you wanted to talk about related to BOM management and complexity of products. Is that right?
Yes, that was the topic, and it's mostly related to the complexity of product and how to manage that. From the beginning, originally, we seen products mostly like machinery or manufacturing or hardware. So that was something that quite easy to manage. However, for the last since previous century, products are changed significantly. And if we think about modern products, for example, we know like car, it's not very much machinery anymore. And like people are saying these days, the car is a little bit machinery and a little bit machine, but lots of computers. So it's a lot of computers on the wheel. So from that standpoint, the complexity of product is growing, and it contains and combines not only hardware, but also electronic pieces, electrical pieces, software pieces. And that was true for complex products like aerospace, automotive industry, but today it comes everywhere. Let me just pick up one example, something that not very widely we can see, but think about all devices in your house, like electronic lock in your door. So think about this device. It's a relatively small device, relatively simple device. However, it might contain also mechanical parts. It will contain some electronic components. It will contain Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. It will contain some software part, and it will also bring some software that probably runs on the cloud. Now combine all this complexity together, and you will understand that today you cannot go anywhere without coming with the product that actually combines from these different disciplines. So the question really how to manage it, originally introduced by different vendors, relatively how to manage different bill of materials together. But today it's more, and it's a question how to manage the complexity of the different disciplines in the product, and it's really critical these days, I think.
And I love this prediction and what you're talking about, because it's something I've followed and worked with for years. SAK has done a lot of work in the medical device industry, and this is an industry where it's gone exactly as you've described. It started out mostly hardware, and now it's all three engineering disciplines. And people really struggle to figure out how to bring the three kinds of engineers together. There's partly that, right? And also, though, how do the tools actually support those engineers working together? And so then you often will have a situation where you have a PLM tool and then an ALM or application lifecycle management tool working almost in two silos or side by side. Do you see much of that? And are you starting to see or think that those two sets of tools might come together or converge?
That's actually very interesting perspective, because if you think about this, these disciplines relate us to different people. So we have mechanical engineer, we have electrical engineer working together, and they are using different tools. So if you think about data management, the data management for these tools was separate for last 20, 25 years. Now it started to come together, and some vendors called it mechatronics, and some vendors gave some other names, but it started to come together. Now, I don't think we have a comprehensive solution, but there are some solutions in places that are doing that. But we have a new wave just came, and it's a software. Because the software is completely different discipline. If you remember, forever we had software separate and PDM for mechanical engineers separate. Now it all comes together. So how we can bring also software management tools together with mechanical, CAD and data management tools, and also electronic and electrical tools. So it's all come together all the way, also from design system to the data management and collaboration.
Okay, that's great. I could go on and on with you on this, Oleg, but we should probably stop on that topic. As I think this is, just as an aside, by the way, I'm seeing more, it starts in requirements management. We'll bring them together in requirements management, and then they kind of go off again on their own tools. Are you, it looks like some of the PLM vendors are trying to incorporate a better requirements management tool in there, which can also handle software, right? But I'm only really seeing it there.
Requirement management tools is a very interesting discipline because originally we knew the requirements is the Word file. So many people consider it requirements as the Word file, but then the requirement management came in a more structured way. And today it's mostly about how to manage traceability between requirements and the end result.
Right.
And how to get information down from the end result to the original customer requirements becomes very critical.
So Oleg, your third prediction or trend, I think, has something to do with the area of new manufacturing startups. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, this is very fascinating and very interesting topic in my view, because we are coming to the place where probably next industrial revolution will happen. And it's enabled by a couple of things. First, of course, is related to the internet and globalization. Today, people not necessarily should work together, and they can do a lot located miles, 100,000 miles. And they can work in a distributed way, and software companies did it first, but it's really comes in manufacturing, and people are working in different locations, and you can see even a small company of 50, 100 people, they have 4 or 5 different locations. Now, another thing that brings to this new industrial revolution, it's actually new methods and new ways to develop. And it's related a little bit to very trendy things like 3D printing, but not only. Because of the globalization and distribution, today people not necessarily should have a large manufacturing shop in order to be able to manufacture things. So they can do work in a very small number of manufacturing articles. They can work with the other shops and do this work distributed. So we have a really ecosystem that enable for small companies or even individuals to manufacture products. And that creates a wave of new companies and new innovative companies that are coming into this place to develop new products. It comes together with the third factor, which is the finance and economical. I'm sure you've heard this term crowdfunding. So people can crowdfund and provide finance to this development. As a result of this, we can see companies and small companies or individual developers that create real manufacturing products from scratch. And that's goes to the place that we have a new type of manufacturing coming with the question what software we can use to design things and what software we can use to manage processes. And it's completely different type of companies that we never seen before. And the question how to provide solutions for these companies, also from design standpoint, also from the collaboration standpoint, will become very critical and very vocal.
Yeah, it strikes me with what you're saying that first of all, it is an ecosystem as you talked about it, as opposed to all of the function existing in the old style manufacturing company, and it's far more collaborative as well. And so the tool that needs to support that kind of product development and manufacturing needs to be a collaborative, accessible, and flexible tool that it can be used by people all over the world, and yet can still maintain security, right, based on what that requirement would be for the company.
Absolutely. What is very important that it comes across the board from the design through the collaboration and data management. If you think from the past, people were able to work with a CAD system, create files, and somehow put these files on the FTP server, or email those files, or do something like that. These days, it's completely not an option. So people want to work in different locations as much as connected as possible. And we see new tools in design, and we see new tools in the collaboration that actually bringing all concepts of the modern web to the design and to manufacturing space.
Yeah, it's a fascinating thing to watch, and part of that, I think you might have mentioned in one of your blogs earlier this year, is that these are smaller companies. These are not large, huge companies, which traditionally have been the typical customer for PLM, if you will. These are smaller companies, and so those old style applications are also not going to fit because of the size and the way that a small company works.
Absolutely. These are all small companies, and the individuals there, it's a new generation of people that come in, from the place that never seen large manufacturing facilities. They are coming with their ideas, and they are looking for tools that they familiar with them from their last decade experience with the web. So they come in with ideas, and they are telling that we want to work exactly in the same way we do everything else on the web and online in connected way. So they are coming with questions how we can have design and collaboration tools that can do the same job as, Google Apps or Facebook or whatever else. So for them, this is absolutely must-have features.
Okay, well, that's great. Oleg, I want to thank you first for joining us, and we hope we can have you again soon because those were fantastic predictions and a wonderful conversation. Just to summarize, the three trends or predictions that we were looked at today, the first is that PLM vendors will discover a greater complexity to deliver their cloud solutions, and this whole area will move away from just the initial infrastructure as a service concept towards something more complex. The second prediction or trend is there's a growing focus on how to manage complex products, combining hardware, mechanical, electronic, and software elements. And that system engineering is going to be the starting point for this, and there might be a convergence over a period of time of the PLM and ALM tools in order to support this growing trend. And finally, there's a new manufacturing company afoot that will attract both CAD and PLM companies. This is a new type of manufacturing company. It's very collaborative, distributed ecosystem, and the old tools really won't work for these manufacturing startups and for the people that tend to work for them. So thanks again. Oleg, can you give us the URL or the address of your blog and your site again so that the audience will have a chance to go visit you there?
Thank you, Chris. It was a pleasure to come and discuss these topics. Thank you for having me. And this is very exciting time now to see all new developments, trends And I'm looking forward to discuss it more. And you always can follow me on my blog at beyondplm.com.
Great. And feel free also to visit us at SPK. It's spkaa.com. We also have a blog there, and this podcast and future related podcasts will be available there. And you can also sign up for any alerts for the future podcasts that we will have and be hosting with either Oleg or other thought leaders in this area. Thanks again.
You're listening to the SPK and Associates podcast.